fantasy short stories. Hello, 27 by T.J Matthews. The car slowly crawled along that narrow country lane. It was a grief-black night where the only illumination came from the floating half-circles created by the car's glowing headlights. There were no trees or bushes on either side of the road. There were no stars in the sky. There were two men inside the car. Connor was in the driving seat. He was in his early 60s with short, silver-gray hair and two baggy, bloodhound eyes. He liked to give the impression that he had seen and done it all. He was wrong. Dermot, who was in his late 20s, was sitting in the passenger seat. His lips twitched nervously. He had only recently joined the service. He was extremely zealous and passionately committed to the cause. On the dashboard, there was a small red light flashing and beeping constantly. "I hate the countryside," Dermot said. "Really?" Connor replied quietly. "Beep, beep. I mean, it's pretty enough in the daytime, I suppose," Dermot continued. "But at night it's just acres and acres of nothingness and emptiness, which are kind of the same things, I know, but you know what I mean. It's not a complete wilderness, friend. There are rumors of real-life human beings living in these here parts." "Beep, beep. I know," Dermot replied. "But they're all asleep, aren't they? Nobody's out wandering the roads like us." "Beep, beep." Dermot stared out at the darkness beyond the car's lights. Come out wherever you are," he said quietly. There was a pause before he continued, "When this is all over, there's going to have to be an investigation." "Beep, beep." "There will be," Connor said. "Didn't you hear the director saying a real investigation?" Dermot interrupted. "Not an official one. Didn't I bloody warn him this was going to happen?" "You did. Ad nauseum. Ad infinitum. Did they listen?" "Beep, beep." "No, they did not." "Beep, beep." "I told them that one of these days, if you opened the pod door too quickly, one of them would leap out and skedaddle." "Beep, beep." "Yes, you did," Connor said dryly. "It's a scandal of epic proportions." "Beep, beep." Suddenly, Dermot raised his voice and violently pointed in the direction of the dashboard. "And that bloody light is driving me nuts." Connor could not help but laugh as he replied, "My God, you really love your job, don't you?" "Beep, beep." Dermot smiled slightly. "Oh, I do. It's a great gas altogether," he replied with a quiet sarcasm. Suddenly, the light on the dashboard turned green. "It's turned green," Dermot said. Connor glanced at it and replied, "So it has." The beep suddenly changed into a low, harsh buzz. "It's buzzing now." "I concur." "Is that supposed to do that? Please tell me it's supposed to do that. I've had enough bloody surprises for the night." "Bzzz, bzzz." Connor nodded and said, "It's supposed to do that. It's one of the new features our crazy brainiacs installed. It's good news, actually." "How?" "It means we're catching up with our escapee. We'll be making visual contact soon." "So let's keep our eyes opened." "Bzzz, bzzz." They both stared ahead as Dermot added, "New features, eh? They haven't put in an ejector seat, have they?" "Not yet." Suddenly, Dermot saw the very distinct and unusual figure of the escapee appearing in the illuminated space in front of them. Bzzz, bzzz. "There he is," Dermot said. "Slow down, and in the name of all that is decent in the world, can we please turn off that bloody buzzer?" Connor pressed a button on his steering wheel, and the buzz finally ended. "Ah, thank you," said Dermot. They both then directed their attention to the figure standing in the headlight's glow. The figure was nearly 7 feet tall and was dressed in a one-piece orange overall. The head was shaped somewhat like an inverted triangle. The skin was pale green and leathery. There were 2 large, protruding eyes at the top 2 angles. At the bottom, there appeared to be an unnaturally wide, thin-lipped mouth. There were 2 yellow antlers rising from each side of the head. The fingers on both of its hands were all equally 8 inches long. They were wriggling as the creature stood panting and wheezing. Connor looked over to Dermot and said, "We have a loudspeaker built into the car." Dermot looked at the dashboard and asked, "Where is it?" Connor leaned and opened the glove compartment and took out a small microphone. He handed it to Dermot. "Press the little button on the side." Dermot took the microphone, pressed the button, and raised it up to his mouth. "Hello?" There was a sudden, almost deafening scream of feedback. The escapee put his hands over his ears as his features contorted. Connor winced and, looking at Dermot, said, "Jesus, will you keep it down? There are people in Cork trying to sleep." "Sorry about that, Chief," Dermot said before he looked out again at the figure. "Hello, 27. Short time no see. Are you enjoying your little midnight stroll? My colleague and I are really fascinated to see where exactly you think you are going to go. Did you really think you could just walk into some local town and not freak everybody out? Did you really think you could escape from us?" The creature just stood there and stared at the car. "Come home," Dermot continued. "Come back to your comrades. They're missing you. They need to see you again. Or rather, we need them to see you again." Slowly, the creature started to walk closer to the car. "What's he doing?" Connor whispered. Speaking into the microphone, Dermot asked, "Did you hear that, 27? My colleague wants to know what you're doing." The creature stopped and renewed his wide-eyed stare. "I hope you're going to be reasonable," Dermot continued. "I hope you're not going to try anything stupid. Don't forget, we've been studying you for weeks. You have no more surprises for—" Suddenly, the creature ran to the front of the car and placed his hands under the bumper. With no apparent effort whatsoever, he lifted the car up with such force that it flew into the night sky like a toy. Tumbling backwards with the headlights flashing on and off, the only sound was Dermot shouting the word, "Us!" like an almost comically extended question. The creature looked up at the car. "Feckin' idiots," he said quietly. T.J Matthews stories have appeared in Aphelion Webzine and Alien Dimensions. Hey guys, I hope you liked that story. I thought the ending on that one was so fast and unpredictable, it actually made me laugh the first time I read it. So hopefully you guys liked it as much as I did. If you did like this story, be sure to leave a thumbs up and a comment on YouTube. Or if you're listening to the podcast, just be sure to subscribe for more brand new short stories. I'm Chris Herron, and that's it for today's Tall Tale TV.